Hey everybody, happy MLK Day. Today is a special day that everyone in the nation recognizes Martin Luther King Jr., a pivotal figure in history, in Black history, and he should never, ever, ever be forgotten because of the contributions that he made to society. Black people are able to do a lot. There's a lot more that goes into the history of Martin Luther King and his thoughts and revelations, realizations before he died are not something to ever skip over. My son is 9 years old, so I've repeatedly shared the contributions of MLK as far as equality in this country. And when he gets a little bit older, I will explain to him the things that Martin Luther King realized as far as segregation and how it necessarily wasn't a bad thing for the Black community. But for now, we will celebrate what he has done for us, and nobody in this country can say that the sacrifices Martin Luther King made did not benefit us in some way. So in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, I got to thinking about sisterhood. And the last video that I posted may have seemed as though I was talking down or attempting to demean women that over-accessorize themselves and their bodies in order to catch a man. That was not my intention. My intention was to build the sisterhood because I believe that men should correct men and women should correct women. Part of my job as a woman who is 45 years old, who's been through a lot, who's seen a lot, experienced a lot, witnessed a lot, my responsibility is to inform those that are younger than me. And this is one way that I do it. Other ways that I do it, mentoring young girls, being a big sister, which I haven't done in a while, I need to do that again, and talking to my family members, my nieces in particular, about behaviors and actions, morals and values, ethics. What I've come to conclude is that based on the way that you present yourself to the world is how you will be treated. Is it fair? No. But you can't say that you don't know or that you haven't heard that, hey, if I look a certain way, there is a huge possibility that people will treat me this way. You can dress however you want, whatever makes you feel better. But just be mindful of the character of man that you will attract with all of the extra accessories. I know so many people with boob jobs, butt jobs, wears all the stuff, and they're still single. Because when a man sees you that way, or he looks at your social media, and all he sees is tits and ass, and you dressed in a full IG baddie costume, his first thought is not going to be, that's my wife. Period. He's gonna see you as what they call a pump and dump. So, for special occasions, sure, but every day, all day, I just wouldn't suggest it. The only people I know on this earth that purposefully marry women that like to exploit themselves sexually is Kanye West, Ice-T, and the guy that married Pamela Anderson. It's not to say that being that way, having all of those accessories will not garner a man that you desire. It's possible, but it is highly unlikely. And when somebody says, hey, I did all that and I was able to get the man of my dreams, he takes care of me, he's rich, blah, 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 good for you, but you're the exception. It does not work that way for most women. When I spoke about a sisterhood, to me a sisterhood is having someone that is also a woman that is able to be honest and say what needs to be said, coming from a place of love, and it be accepted. Now, you may not agree with it, But you have to understand the perspective of the other person because they're speaking from their own experience. I was on a chat one day on a video of a person that I'd never seen before, and they were having some really interesting conversations. They were talking about millennials and Gen Z not being able to stay off of their cell phones while at work. And then they started talking about leadership and organizational leadership and management. And so that piqued my interest, so I'm listening even more. And one of the women on the panel was like 5 men, 2 women. And there was a woman that was a moderator in the chat. And they started talking about sisterhood. And she was saying how we have a sisterhood. And I chimed in the chat and I said, no, we don't. From my experience, we don't have a sisterhood because you can't say anything without a person barking back at you. And then I gave an example of me serving 20 years working for the government, and 90% of my promotions were highly influenced, or all of my promotions were heavily influenced by 90% of men. I didn't have any women take me aside and mentor me and groom me and help me to become a better soldier. And that's just the God's honest truth. I can think of one off the top of my head during my second deployment that listened to me and gave me a really good award. So when I said that, the woman in the chat, who was also a moderator, said, well, you probably don't have a sisterhood because you're a mammy. Now, she had already been going off on other people in the chat. I think she was having a bad day. She was deleting comments, retracting messages, and just talking mess. And it was all funny until she called me a mammy, right? And so I said, well, you just proved my point right there why we don't have a sisterhood, because a person can't be open and honest about their experiences and you don't get clarification. Instead, you call them names. And that's another thing, you know, we call each other names instead of being able to articulate how we feel and why we feel the way we feel and provide tangible examples to back up our claims. Instead of doing that, we call each other out of our names. And so I just caution that we start to do better. Start listening and understanding why a person feels that way. You don't have to agree, and that's okay. But take the time to understand why that person feels the way they do, and then explain why you feel that way. And guess what? Sometimes we can have a meeting of the minds, and one or the other's opinion or perspective may change or shift a little bit, and we can see things differently from the other person's perspective. That to me is sisterhood. That to me is sisterhood. But we'll talk more about it. We gotta calm down and start listening to one another and understanding without getting so defensive. It's easy to do. I've been there. I'm getting better at it. I'm very sensitive. I'm very emotional. I'm a woman. That's how God made me. But I'm learning to control it a little bit better and to listen first without just exploding. Is my blood boiling on the inside? Hell yeah. But I'm learning to tailor that energy towards other things. That's going to make me a better person, which in turn will make my surroundings a better place. Anyways, happy MLK Day. Leave me a comment, say something, say hi. And if you're still here, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I appreciate you all for being here. All the people that have subscribed so far, all of the new people that are watching, I appreciate you. God bless you all. Take care.